Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece episodes 273 and 274. In these episodes, Luffy ratchets it up to second gear, and I still don't get to find out just how this works entirely. However, he is really kicking some ass here, and it is straight up impressive. Also, Robin has to repeat herself yet again. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha. Thank you very much to the One Piece crew for commissioning this episode. Yay! Seraphim says, and work out how many pies to the face Florian earned. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. I thought that was about to say something about Luffy. This pair of episodes, I was about to say trio, and then I was about to say this double of episodes. Y'all, my mouth words have not been talking good. I really enjoyed these two a whole lot. I think that I'm a big fan of the moments in these arcs when everybody starts to really come back together again. Like, that's just kind of my jam. And we get a lot of satisfying moments here, even though we don't get the final, confrontation quite yet. And it also culminates in a moment where everybody is standing on the wall, sort of posing in a way that I think could easily be kind of, cheesy. And I guess it is cheesy, but I just feel like they really have come so far to get here that I just can't fault them for posing. You know, they earned this. And their respective poses are they're just so in character and so satisfying in their way. They could be on, baseball cards. Do they have trading cards for this show? I would have to assume they do, right? I know that they eventually came out with a card game, but I don't know if, I don't feel like that falls into the same category. But is there, I'm so getting myself sidetracked here, guys. And I know that even if the answer to this is yes, which I want it to be, I couldn't participate in it due to the potential for spoilers. But if there were a game, would they have it on an app, like a virtual, the way that you can play certain card games with friends virtually? I feel like that would be super fun. Seraphim says they just released a new CCG. What's a CCG? Gabriella says trading cards just came out. It's pretty good, but it's very spoilers. Yeah, that's what I was figuring probably. But yeah, I just there's the thing that appeals to me about that is getting to see, hopefully, if they're drawn the way that I want them to be drawn, getting to see a lot of characters' full head-to-toe costumes. Because usually you get a character head-to-toe in the first moments of meeting them, and then the camera tends to be closer up, and you get, waist up, and it depending on how many interactions you wind up having with that character, you may never get, a real nice full shot front on of their outfit again. And you guys know that's, what I'm here for, is the outfits. If you guys can send me non-spoilery images and tag me in the Discord channel for One Piece No Spoilers of cosplayers doing this show, and look, I'm not saying I don't want to see Luffy cosplays or I don't want to see Nami cosplays, because I do. But I want, what I want, right? You know what I'm looking for here. I want the completely wackadoo stuff. That's what I'm after. Nami, it's just, you know, we could do that with like almost nothing. Basically, put on a bikini top and shorts and a red wig and you're done. You know, Luffy, it's like the same kind of thing. I, however, would absolutely murder for a Mr. 2 cosplay, please. You know, anything. So I'm just saying I would be interested in that. Seraphim says CCG is collectible card game. Okay, cool. Gabriella says some are actually fan arts commissioned for it. It's gorgeous. Oh, that's cool. I'll send you pics of the non-spoiler ones through Discord. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Gabriella. Gus says, I don't know if they have an app yet. I think all they have is a demo app that shows you how to play. They'll make one eventually if the cards are popular. That's like, I know. All right. So guys, there are like 1,000 episodes of this, right? Am I correct in that? Because I know people say 1,000 and it can just be like the hyperbolic. Oh yeah, you know, there's 1,000 episodes of that show, but there's literally like over 1,000 episodes of this show, right? So I'm like kind of low key nowhere near being caught up. Am I correct in this? I just want to make sure that I understand my stance, because sometimes I sort of have this like, oh, well, soon I'll be able to engage with some of the other, you know, media surrounding the show. And then I have to stop and be like, soon? I don't think so, girl. I don't think soon is the word you want there. Gabriella says a friend just did a fantastic Usopp. I'll also find a pic of her and others I've seen. Nice. Gus says more than 1,000. Yeah. Now, yeah. Florian says with no filler, there are like 900. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I've been covering this for, let's see, when was the first episode? Oh, by the way, the last episode I recorded was the 100th of Spoil Me's for One Piece. Just, meant to like say that during the recording and completely forgot. February of 2021. So in February of this year, I will be at 2 years of coverage, and I'm not even quite at episode 300. So we have got a good another like 3 years at least before I am anywhere near like even like 3/4 of the way through. Yeah. I'm just like, I really want to like, I want to be current with everybody. I want to know stuff. But then what happens with the Spoil Me's is the question. How does this air now? Do they release them weekly? Like, is this, I never actually like stopped to ask how it works in the present. Are y'all keeping like current with what's being released, or is there a delay in getting it here in the US, or how does that go? That's why people asked you, will you finish it in the beginning? Gabriella says we'll be increasing to 3 eps eventually too. Okay. Bernadette, holy shit, how has it already been that long? Yeah, time doesn't matter. Florian says once a week except for holiday weeks. Okay. And like, does it drop? Where does it drop? Like, where do you guys watch it? Is it on Crunchyroll? Because I like the ones with the dub were only on Funimation. There was, you know, that whole thing. I don't know if they're on Crunchyroll now, because Crunchyroll kept acting like they were going to get it any moment and they just didn't. So is it dropping on Netflix? Because Netflix doesn't have all the episodes, right? They have like the next couple arcs, and then I'm going to be done with what I can get through Netflix again for a while, perhaps. I'm sorry. I know and I will cover these episodes, I swear, but this is all information that I feel like if I talk about it on the air, it will help other people who are listening to understand where things are going with the way that I cover things as well. Florian, it drops in Japan and then I find it in ways. Bernadette says in the beginning we thought we wouldn't even make it to Grand Line. It only drops in Japanese. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know how long it takes for them to release a dub version, but I have to imagine it's a good year, right? Before they can like get everybody and record dubs for everything. And then the rest you obtain in mysterious ways. Okay. So probably, like, once I eventually do catch up, probably coverage is going to have to slow way down. And we'll have to figure it out and play it by ear. Not that that is something that we need to be concerned about right now in any way, shape, or form. But I had been sort of like wondering about it because this is the only thing I have ever covered that was still airing. Everything else that people have been commissioning me to watch were completely finished series. So this will be the first time that I've ever had to deal with that as an issue. That's not true. There are things that are still airing, but everything that was still airing would drop a whole season. Like Sex Education or Dairy Girls, they would drop a whole season on Netflix and then there would be a break. So it was pretty easy to handle that. But this is the first thing that's like, you know, a kind of year-round, every episode, like a soap opera kind of thing. Brian says, as a dub watcher myself, they've dubbed all the way up to 9:16. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm actually wondering, are you guys going to want me to switch to the manga or what? Like, how does that... But the manga isn't really, like, coming out faster, is it? So, Seraphim says, most anime are dubbed within a week. There was just a huge backlog to dub when Funimation took over. Wow, that is crazy. A week. That is really impressive. All right, noted. All right. So let's get started on this actual episode. There's a lot of real, like, little character moments here that I always enjoy. So we've got our three-headed dude, and they are talking about how these guys need to be put on trial and respect that this is, you know, a place where judgments are handed down and that this is like all about law. And basically is like, we're going to have a trial for all of you. And I guess this dude really did think that if he said, you're all on trial, they were just going to stop and participate in that. And Nami, for her part, is kind of like, hey, seems like there's a trial. But Zorro is just, yeah, we don't worry about that. That's none of our business. Our business is getting where we need to go. And I love the fact that when they decide to just like blow right past, in the dub, one of these guys says something like, I can't believe they're just ignoring us. I mean, I know they're pirates and everything, but rude. The delivery of that line just really got me. I just really enjoyed that a lot. So they are, what really, like, I want to talk about here, of course, as usual, is the interaction between Zorro and Sanji. Because these two fucking guys. So Zorro cuts a path. He uses a technique that he says dream demon or charm demon, sleepless night. It is causing a sort of like heat wave effect, and it makes his swords look like they're bending all over the place. And he says that, but then he yells ogre cutter as he charges through the crowd of guys who do that thing that I like, which is sail directly vertically up into the air. I do not understand, I think, how the techniques work with Zorro, because he'll say one as he's like getting into his initial position, but then he'll say another one when he starts moving. And I thought that when he's like getting into position, that he was saying the name of the one he's about to do once he begins to move. And it feels like they're two separate things. I've noticed this a couple times, but I always kind of felt like I was just sort of missing the second part of the movement. And this was so simple and direct that I'm fairly confident here I didn't misunderstand this. So I just want to, I just want to understand, like, what the naming convention, how that works. And I know it's not really probably that important because, like, I mean, for some of our guys, they don't really use the same techniques over and over again. Obviously, Luffy tends to, but we see here in, like, second gear that he has a whole other thing going on. But I feel like with Zorro, we actually see a lot of different techniques. I don't feel like we see the same things over and over. But yeah, I'm just like curious about whether it works differently for him than it does for Luffy. Because Luffy can just say like gum gum gatling, and he does his thing, and it's a very direct 1-to-1. So I don't know. But anyway, he clears these guys, no fucking problem. Once again, we have all the Franky pirates staring at him and being like, that's the same guy who just like cut the door in half. I don't understand how he can be that powerful and he's not even like their captain. And I guess they just haven't seen what Luffy can do at this point. So we get Sanji charging through, and he is completely off his rocker. That is a phrase that I don't feel like I get to use that often. I forget it exists. But off his rocker just feels right here. This dude is out here starting a fucking fight with Zorro, which is not new, right? We have seen him do this a few times. The two of them getting totally distracted in the midst of a very clear enemy. They are going at each other. And he comes in, he calls Chopper a reindeer. He calls Zorro moron swordsman. And then he tries to like rescue Nami because he's just so wrapped up in himself that he doesn't see. He says, don't get in Nami's way. Nami, this way, follow me. And she's looking at him and she says, I don't need this. We're here to rescue Robin. You remember that, right? Which causes a complete redirect with Sanji, who's like, oh my God, that's right. Robin. I am so like, she's probably crying right now somewhere, like totally depressed because I'm not around. She misses me so much. This man, it's, you know what Sanji's like? He's like my puppy Pippin with toys. Pippin loves all of his toys very much, except when you have a different toy. And then those can get fucked and he wants the toy that you have in your hand. And it doesn't matter what it is. If he was super interested in it 5 minutes ago and you toss it for him to go and grab it and you pick something else up and he chased it and was very excited about grabbing it and bringing it back. When he sees that now you like picked up his rope toy and he's got his gingerbread man in his mouth, he just drops that and is just like, well, what have you got? It's obviously better. That's the vibe with Sanji. He just doesn't focus at all. There's no particular woman that has his heart. It's whatever woman he is thinking of the most recently is the love of his life. And it's a really tenuous place to be. It is not reliable. And as much as one can like take advantage of that if one needs to at times, just the fact that he can so quickly be like, everybody get out of Nami's way. I think he says Nami's like royal way or something like that. And then just so quickly be like, oh, right, Robin, and turn his back on Nami and sprint off. Sir, your love is worthless and meaningless. What is that even? Like, you've got to be able to keep your focus for at least 10 minutes at a time. It's tiring. So, Brian says, would you be interested in me posting on the Discord a few YouTube links to some of the behind-the-scenes features that were released on the DVDs? I always find seeing what the voice actors look like compared to the voices in the show very interesting. Yes. I would love that, not only because I like to see what voice actors look like, because I am vaguely interested in that. Sometimes I wish I didn't know, but nevertheless, my favorite thing though is to see a voice actor when they have like clips of them in the booth doing their thing and getting to see them saying these completely absurd over the top lines with full chest in a little gray box with a straight face. That's the part that I find the most fascinating about voice work, is how you have got to put your entire self into a scene when nothing around you is happening. And I feel like I would be actually pretty good at that, because I'm decent at like doing like narration live for books and stuff when I'm reading them aloud to like co-hosts and whatnot. But I don't have to go as hard doing that as they have to do for this show. And there are times where the kinds of screaming they have to do, or the weird shit they've got to say, I would love to see it coming out of a human mouth. You know, I'm very interested in that. And the fucking zipper mouth, choppa papa. Yo, I am sorry. That is the stuff of nightmares. This creature, bottom of the list for me. Truly the worst. I hate him. I don't like it. Gus says most of Zorro's attack names are food puns. Zorro's are? Oh, wait. You guys have told me this before. And I was kind of puzzled because I thought that was going to be a thing for Sanji. And it turns out it is occasionally a thing for Sanji, but his tend to be Frenchy. Ogre/demon cut is his default move. It's pronounced onigiri, which also means rice ball. His move here, Charm Demon Sleepless Night Ogre Cutter, is said as Enbima Yonezu Onigiri. Oh god, I fucking mangled that. I'm sorry, guys. Which, when you separate the syllables differently as Ebi Mayonezu Onigiri, it means shrimp mayonnaise rice ball. Oh god. That's like very impressive. That's a lot of work to make those jokes like work that way. Wow. Okay. All right. So the answer really is, regarding like his moves, it's for the joke. That's really what we're going for here. We don't have to worry about the names. We've just got to like keep in mind that they were doing something with whatever they put together there. I completely get it. Got it. So then we look down. I love this. Sanji has blown past them. I've got to go rescue Robin. Nami and Nami and Chopper going up the stairs. And then you just see this like dust cloud traveling. And they both stop. And it turns out that it's Zorro just heading in the completely wrong direction. And Nami is like, dude, I said the stairs were going up the stairs. Why are you going that way? And Chopper says, hey, I'm going to work, in the dub, he says, I'm going to work on making some medicine to fix your messed up head. I think that is the sickest burn that Chopper has ever made in this show. Just being like, you are a disaster and need medical intervention. This bit with Zorro always getting his directions wrong just doesn't get old for me. It's always funny. It's just such a basic thing for him to be so bad at, and he's so competent at everything else. And it's like a big liability too, you know? Like, if you want to give somebody who's otherwise really badass a sort of, what's the word you want? Like an Achilles heel. A lot of times it'll be something really sort of not that bad. It won't be that big a handicap, you know? But this man is so bad at directions that I don't know how he gets out of bed in the morning. I don't know how he does it. So this is a severe enough one that I'm like, yeah, that's adequate, because he is such a badass fighter. Florian says a flaw. Florian, I am insulted that the word that you thought I meant was so basic, and I am ashamed that you are correct. It was a flaw. That's 100%. I'm so tired. Why am I so bad at talking lately? You guys, I shouldn't be like this. Things have calmed down a lot. I'm all right. Why? I don't know. Anyway, so I love this so much. And Nami looks at him and is like, Chopper. And I'm like, don't you dare, Nami, reprimand Chopper for that absolute scorcher of a line. He deserved it. You know he did. Stop it. So, and yeah, I love all the Franky pirates are watching these guys who are quite like powerful and intimidating on their own begin to fight with each other as if there's not a whole other enemy to deal with. And then fucking one of them go in the entire wrong direction. And the pirates are just like, oh boy. I mean, I'm pretty sure they can handle this, but oh, they are undermining our confidence just a tad here, man. So then we have these, the three-headed guy, and he is like, all right, I'm coming for you guys. And he slams down his, what is it? A gavel? No, it should be a gavel, but it is a sword. He comes over here and like breaks the floor. Everybody goes flying. It looks like it's going to be a whole thing. And instead the Franky pirates come up behind him and grab onto his cloak and hold him in place. And truly, that was a beautiful moment. It's just such a very basic way to stop him. I don't know. I think that's what I enjoyed about it, was like the sheer simplicity of it. It just felt like a little kid kind of going into a fight where somebody's like swinging their fists, and while they don't notice, the kid ties their shoelaces together kind of thing, you know? So then we go back to the roof and we have Luffy and Bluno. And this is a weird thing because we get some information here about how Luffy picked up on one of the CP9 strategies. I don't know what to call these, and I'm sure that you guys could tell me. Is it just called a technique with them as well? He has got a technique that he points out to Bluno he wouldn't have learned if he hadn't been watching them, that they move their feet so quickly, like 10 or 12 times a second, that it looks like they disappeared. And I don't really see how that works, but it doesn't matter. And basically, he has learned how to do that himself. But that isn't what's causing him to turn red and steam, right? And from what I could tell in this fight, I can't understand what exactly the advantages of the way he has turned red and started steaming. Is it just supposed to be that it indicates that he has like supercharged himself and that all of his hits and stuff are like more powerful? Because I was waiting for there to be a sort of heat related attack, and we don't see anything like that unless I'm mistaken. But it's just a weird, I was thinking that we were going to find out that he had found a way to like utilize, because, you know, I said last time about how he sort of looked like a hot water bottle because he turns red and stretches out and begins to steam. And so what I thought we were going to find out was that maybe there was a way he had figured to use the rubberiness of his power and like, you know, turn it into a kind of container to add another dimension to the way that he ordinarily fights. But instead, it just seems like he's hitting a lot harder than he used to. But I don't really get how it is that this steaming action assists with that. Seraphim says what Luffy copies was a move called Shave that lets them move faster. Okay. Florian says how it works will be explained. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I hadn't kind of missed something obvious there about how this works, because I have been very eager to understand where he pulled this out of. But yeah, so he goes up against Bluno, and we get a very funny fight here, you guys. I was really enjoying this. So first of all, Luffy is being very open with him about how, like, you are not prepared for me, sir. You thought you knew how I fought. That was then, this is now. I've learned some things, and I am not somebody to fuck with anymore. And Bluno is just not really hearing him. And he gets his butt absolutely whipped right out of the gate, and sort of has to, like, open a door and take a breather, because he is so taken off guard at how aggressive this attack is, that he's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, there is no way this kid has improved this much, and I've got to find a way to beat him. I have to either stop underestimating him or figure out. And what the conclusion is that Bluno eventually comes to, which is not really great, Bluno. He comes to the conclusion, basically, that, yeah, okay, so maybe he has learned that shave technique and he can move really fast. But even so, he's only learned it recently. He's no member of CP9. He's not as powerful as we are. So all I need to do is focus, get him down, and finish him off. Basically, Bluno, like, takes a whole aside just to be like, he's not that tough after all. I can still do this. And I'm like, that's not really an approach, sir. Like, he just hit you like 12 times in 20 seconds, and you were taken to the brink right away. You need to come up with a real strategy, and you've got this door power, and that's what he wants. He says he's going to use, and it just does not work out for him. Well, he just really thinks like, oh, I just got caught off guard, but he's really not that great. I'll still be able to pull this off. So he comes back out the door, and I do sort of enjoy that as he is in this weird pocket dimension, Luffy is just chilling, waiting for him very patiently. Just like, yeah, I know he's coming back. He doesn't even consider that this guy has fled. And Bluno comes at him from midair behind Luffy's back, trying to attack him from behind in a sneak attack. And that's like, one, cowardly, sir. Have some self-respect. But two, it's not even like a tiny bit successful. There's not even a moment where Luffy's caught off guard. He 100% kind of expected this, it feels like to me. And Luffy monologues here about how now I am going to be able to protect my friends, even from people like you. He says, I'm going to engage my, like, iron body strength. And Luffy is like, all right, now we're going to do a jet bazooka. And he hits this man and shoves him backward like 40 feet. And Bluno is still standing. His eyes are bloodshot, but he's still standing. He looks at Luffy, and Luffy is like, wow, you are pretty tough, huh? All right, I've got something else to show you. Don't blink. And he puts his thumb in his mouth. And he says, I call this. And then Bluno just faints. Just falls to the fucking ground on his face. I cackled so hard at this, you guys. I was not expecting that at all. Not even a drop. It was so unexpected. Like, he is so smug the way he's smiling, standing there for a second, straight up looking like, oh, you really thought you got me, kid. And then the man is unconscious, out, taken down like it was a scythe cutting through wheat. Truly embarrassing, honestly. And later on, when the other CP9 members see him, I can't remember who it is that, I think it might be Cockry. Is it Cockry? Is that how you say his name? He says something like, well, Bluno's been a bartender for too long when he was undercover. So it's no surprise that his, like, abilities are basically he's rusty. And I felt a little bit like defensive of Bluno, weirdly. I was like, guys, I understand that you may feel like you were closer to the main action, but this man probably had to break up a fair number of like bar fights and stuff. And I just have to imagine that he was staying in fitness in his own way. So let's see. Sarah's explained something, but I'm seeing that people are saying not to explain it. So I'm not going to read it because it seems like it's a spoiler. I didn't read it yet. But just leaving that to others' judgment for right now. So this is when the two giants jump into the mix. And I am just really excited because it turns out that all of our guys are just riding on their backs. And I think that I was expecting these giants to consider that beneath them to just like carry these dudes. But no, we've got Polly on one and Usopp on the other. And this is great. Delightful. I am so glad that we're all on the same team here. Oh, and also we've got that fucking frog guarding that entrance and just going to town on these guys with like his fists. He is sitting stock still. I just want to mention like his body unmoving. But the frog's arms are going to town. He's like Luffy with the Gatling kind of, And they are fighting their way up to the top of the stair. Like this shit is really starting to pop off quite seriously at this point. And we're getting the updates on where everybody is and whatnot. And the two sisters are basically like, do what you need to do. Don't worry about me. Just leave me, as they're continuing to fight. And I was like, honestly, I respect that. You're being kind of brave right now. And the episode ends with Spandam. And he essentially is like, we have to move up our getting Robin out of here. Gather all of the members of CP9 and get the transport ship, I guess it is. And even though it's not supposed to happen until like tomorrow, we're going immediately. And the only thing that we like, he basically says they are only fighting to free Robin. If we take Robin out of the equation entirely so that there's nobody to free, they will just stop fighting. And I couldn't help but laugh at that because I know these guys by now. And no, they will not. I understand why you might think that with your logical brain, but the idea that they would just be like, oh, I guess you win, even if you literally killed her in front of them, they would still come at you, sir. Like, this is so much more than just Robin at this point, in my opinion. So, all right, now let's go to the next episode. We have a moment with Kokoro where she's talking about how, like, there's going to be a time soon where every single person in the world is going to know Luffy's name. And Spandam is panicking over here. I really do enjoy seeing him completely freaking out. And he leaves for a little while to like work on moving up the whole thing with Robin. Meanwhile, Franky is having a bit of a moment with Robin. And it's a weird conversation. It's not... Weird is the wrong word. What it is that he is sort of accusing her of being super selfish in a way that I feel is very presumptuous. He's like, all of your friends busted in here to save your ass, and all you can do is sit there looking miserable and unappreciative. They're risking everything. What's the matter with you? And you guys know that as much as I haven't really been like all that invested in them rescuing Robin, I have been very curious about the fact that Robin is so against them being rescued. And while there's a big part of me that is like, that feels like there's, you know, a whole other selflessness to what she's doing, that is what it looks like on the surface. I also think there is a secret that she's carrying, because especially here she says, like, just let me die. And she's so angry that they're not respecting her wishes on this. And I've been pretty much on her side in that respect up until now. Like, I agree that it doesn't seem like anybody's taking her feelings into consideration, and they're just going to do what they're going to do, which is frustrating. However, Robin, maybe you should just confide a little bit more deeply with these people than you have been. She seems to want them to just take it on faith that she's serious about being sent to, like, the worst place in the world. And it's kind of unsurprising that they don't take that on faith, Robin, because you're agreeing to go to be tortured for years, it sounds like. So you could just stop and think about what that looks like to them. And if you have something more going on, tell them so. But she doesn't want to do that. She wants to keep her little secret, and she also wants to get her way. And I'm sorry, girl, but you just can't do both of those things. Let's be real. With this crew, you could tell them and you still wouldn't get your way, because that's just how the Straw has to be doing. But nevertheless, if you made an attempt to confide in them, I feel like things might be a little different. It's just she wants them to respect her wishes, but she doesn't respect them enough to give them the full story. And I am extremely curious about what the full story is going to wind up being, because here's my thing. I'm going to tell you guys right now. I want Robin to have really done fucked up stuff. I don't want a whole series of technically that was justified, or yeah, she broke the law, but it was for good reason, or it was a misunderstanding. I don't want a bunch of stuff that she feels guilty for that I feel like, I don't see that, girl. You shouldn't feel guilty. You just did what you needed to do. I want Robin to truly have been a bad person and be ashamed for good reason. And we'll see. You know, I don't know what this show is very hard on, like, we're going to stay friends no matter what. We're going to forgive each other. We're going to support each other. And they have been willing to have her back without knowing a lot of her history, which I've kind of criticized them for, being way too willing to just throw themselves behind a person they don't know very well. But what happens when you find out a person really did do something that they are right to be ashamed of? You know, like, think about it. Imagine if you had like a partner that you had been with for a couple years, and one night they got drunk and told you that they did a hit and run, that somebody died and they just bailed in a panic, and they never faced the consequences for it and never found out how to turn themselves. Like, that's not a small thing to overcome. And that would change the way you see a person. I want something on that level, you know, where it's like gonna be a bit of work maybe for them to get past it. That maybe some of the folks that they have dealt with so far, that they've been friends with, they've gone through hard times and done some things that were, you know, questionable, but nobody's ever seemed to be like really bad. I'd like Robin to have been really bad. So I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, so like this whole thing with Franky, he's just very frustrated with her attitude here, which makes sense because he's like still unaware about the Franky pirates, I think. I mean, they say something about them, the other pirates, to span them, but I don't think they specifically mention who they are, because I don't think these guys know who the Franky pirates are. So I don't I feel like Franky is still a little bit envious about how it looks like they're coming for Robin, but nobody's coming for him. So then we've got Franky, who does this thing where he makes his entire butt swell up and convinces them all that he is a bomb and that he is doing this so that he can take a few of them out with him. He tricks them, wraps his legs around Robin, and then, please correct me if I'm wrong, farts like a rocket and shoots them through the wall. Did I have that right? Is that what that was? I just want to be sure that I didn't misunderstand that. But I appreciate that there wasn't like as much of a fart sound as there could have been. I don't approve of this humor. I am not as down. Like, Rashawn can't stand the word fart, and she doesn't say the word fart. I tricked her into saying it. I didn't trick her. That's the wrong way to say it. But she said it once in response to something and like immediately had to stop and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that I just said that out loud. She hates the word. I am not like a fan of the word, but I'll say it. You know, it's fine. Not a big fan of that humor exactly. But, you know, what I'm saying is they could have gone a lot grosser and a lot harder with this than they did. And I appreciate their restraint, which I think is the only time I will ever say I appreciate their restraint about One Piece in my life. So we could just mark this on the calendar as me saying something was restrained. And that's it. That's the last time I'm ever going to say it. So at this point, they wind up like sort of on an outcropping of the building. And we see Luffy kind of across this like gulf between the buildings. And he is fully intending to come on over to Robin immediately. And he says gum gum and stretches out. And she finally yells out, "Stop. I've told you so many times. I'm not going back with you. I don't want to set eyes on you ever again. I'm not one of you. Why are you here?" And we get all of the stills of everybody fighting, looking like total badasses. And she's saying, I never asked for this. You're not listening to me. And finally, she says, I just want to die. And Luffy clearly was not ready for that. His eyes are always quite round, but they are like super round here. And then we cut to Spandam, who is over here clapping like the biggest drama queen on planet Earth, and keeps on treating this like it's his own personal soap opera. I really do enjoy how all the CP9 guys are like, Spandam, why don't we just take them out, man? Why are you standing here watching this when we could deal with the situation immediately? But Spandam is like, guys, I haven't seen this episode yet. Don't spoil it. What is the matter with you? And these CP9 folks have turned up with their new, like, devil fruit powers, which they have apparently figured out what they are. And I am dying of curiosity because somebody makes fun of Kokru. Is that his name? I keep forgetting. And say that he's just mad because his power sucks, but he says he likes it. So I don't know. We'll find out. I am curious about it though. And they're all just sort of taking in the scene. And since they're all lined up here and the episode ends with all of our friends lined up on the other side, I'm assuming that we're going to have them like fighting. If one-on-one is the wrong way to say it, it's gonna be a big crowd against a big crowd. And I know that I'm supposed to believe that they have gotten stronger since the last time, but I just don't see how they are strong enough to deal with, like, the CP9s were already very intimidating before they got devil fruit powers. So that's my main question is, like, how can they go up against them now that they have additional power? You know, that's where I'm sort of stuck. We have this, like, fucking dude, the one that's in the like domination harness that's got guilty tattooed on his shoulder. It's like two dudes, right? They are coming at this frog guy. I felt so bad, you guys. This frog is fucking some dudes up. There's a man standing next to him who's got sort of like a bazooka. And he's like, hey, good job. And the frog turns to smile at him. And it's this nice little moment of camaraderie. And then these two fucking goons have to ruin it by smashing the man backwards with one of their sort of, I don't know if you call this like a chain mace. I don't know what you, but either way, these dudes are in the hallway with Nami and Chopper before they like get up to the roof. And Nami just is like, well, good luck, Chopper. And he's like, what do you mean? Me by myself? And I was like, yeah, Nami, come on. That's fucked up. Overall, this this sequence of fights though winds up seeming to be pretty inconsequential because all of our dudes do make it. This is all kind of just to keep the Franky pirates occupied. You know, that's really what it feels like here, is that we need to give these other dudes something to do, which is fine. And I just can't with this poor frog, y'all. This dude he worked so hard. And when he finally goes down with one of those huge iron, like, he has taken a lot of hits. I really do appreciate that one of the Franky pirates just like climbs out right in front of him and is guarding him using just his bazooka. That's all he's got. And it's this one dude against a bunch of Marines, but also there's like guys in sort of riot gear. Like, they've got those big shields. And it looks like they're just going to come in and just like tear this frog apart. And this is when those lovely giants step in front of him and guard him. And I was like, oh, yay. These two giants, there's something about them that just tickles me. I really enjoy them. Their whole energy, and they're so admiring of our frog friend. Just like, wow, what a guy. You know, I really liked that. So that's the moment also when like Usopp shows up and we're dealing with this. Fucking Zorro gets lost again. He opens a door and he's in a hallway in a completely different area by himself. And I'm just like, dude, how? And he just decides to make a shortcut by using some power that creates a sort of cyclone effect that breaks through the floor. I don't know what that was, because I don't know if we've ever seen that before. But he just goes ahead and does this, breaks through the floor. He takes out one of the guys with the like swinging mace, and he scoops up in the process Nami and Chopper, which these two are not aware this is Zorro. Like, it's very alarming. Zorro, what are you doing, man? Can't you just like give people a heads up or do anything like normally, you know? But no, he can't. And he has to do this whole thing so that we can get everybody on the roof at the same time. And he can help these guys out from having to fight what looks to be a true monster. When they come through, they have to fall like gracefully. And Nami does this amazing sort of superhero fall with no hands even. Chopper lands literally on his head. He lands in like, it is very bad. I felt so bad for him, this poor guy. But yeah, Zorro, sir, did you have to? Like, what a drama queen, honestly. And we get to a moment of Usopp sort of flying through the air. And I don't know if Usopp is, if like one of the giants threw him. I can't remember if we're told that. But I was sort of asking about that. And of course, Sanji comes sailing up as well. And he's like, I know I'm the first one here. And then he looks around and is like, wait. Guys, there is a moment after Sanji sails through. I'm going to screen share this with you. I don't know. Guys. All right. I am wondering if what they're doing here is supposed to be a depiction of what Sanji sees when he looks at Zorro. But Sanji comes up through the floor, sails through, lands, and then looks up at Zorro. And Zorro's head, his hair, he's got like an afro. What is going on there? What is that? Why is this happening? Gus says the moss head Zorro. Florian says the Marimo head. I don't know what Marimo is. Moss head Zorro. I mean, he always does kind of look moss headed. So that's, I've never been like, why would you say that, Sanji? Because he's not really that far off. Everybody's saying Marimo. I don't know what that is. But it's a really weird moment that just is gone a second later. So you would very easily miss it. And I was sitting there like, did I just imagine that? I thought for a second that what it was going to be was something happened to his hair when he was like flying through the floor. And it was going to carry out for the rest of the scene. But then once we're not with Sanji anymore, he looks normal again. He calls Zorro Marimo. Google images and it will show you what he's talking about. Marimo is a type of algae. He sees Zorro as a chia pet, an algae that grows in balls. Okay, y'all, I'm doing it. I am Googling that right the fuck now. Well, that's just rude. Wow. They're perfectly spherical. That's amazing. Oh, man. What in the hell? Okay, I love that. Because, guys, genuinely, I really was like, what are we doing? You know, I just couldn't understand if I was imagining what had just happened. Okay, good. Thank you all. That was a delightful little, I did not know about those. So yeah, he's like, how did you get here before me? To which Zorro, of course, has to be like, what took you so long? Did you get lost? And I really do appreciate Sanji being like, you did not just ask me, you of all people, if I got lost. And I'm like, you have every right, Sanji. As much as you have been very obnoxious this episode, that was uncalled for from this man of all men. Get the fuck out of here. But yeah, this is when we see like Usopp flying into the air, and he is just straight up ascending for a good 10 seconds. And Zorro starts sweating and is like, how is he gonna land? And the answer is that he lands badly. He just collapses. It takes a while for him to get himself together again. Fucking still, Chopper is not catching on that this is Usopp. And the episode basically ends with Luffy saying to Robin, all right, girl, look. If you want to die, I guess that's your business. And you can go ahead and do it if you want to. But if you do, you're going to be a member of this crew when you do it. So we're going to rescue you, and then you can fucking make whatever moves you want. But we're here to do a thing, and that's what the fuck we're going to do. And then we have the slow pan from face to face as they all stand there. And most of them are sort of doing the like tough eye contact thing, except for Sanji, who is lighting a cigarette. And I just really am into that energy. I'm not here for smoking. I don't like it. But the fact that Sanji is just like, let me get a cigarette lit here. That is the kind of like, I'm not worried. That kind of attitude that I really like. So, all right. That's it, guys. That's the end of the episode. Marimo. I can't believe this. All right, guys. I love you very much. Thank you for commissioning this. Until next time. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.